Hi friends, today I'm going to be recreating these Halloween Disney caramel apples. It's Dia de los Muertos and Maleficent, and they are my favorite. So here are my faux apples, so keep on watching if you want to learn how to make these.
The materials for this first apple that we're going to do are some apples, and I pick up my fake apples or my faux apples at Hobby Lobby. We're going to use some foam sheets, and I have picked these up at Dollar Tree. We're going to use some of this white sand. I picked this up at Dollar Tree. You're going to need some scissors, a pencil, glue gun. I have some regular white glue that I picked up at Dollar Tree. These paints here that are from Dollar Tree as well, and these are the colors that they had there, so I picked up every color that they have. We're also going to need some white paint, just basic white paint. This is apple barrel white paint. We're also going to need some spray glue, and I picked this one up at Dollar Tree. And I just have this extra little paint here that's Princess Purple from Apple Barrel, and I picked this up at Walmart for 57 cents. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to put your ears onto your Mickey. I do have a tutorial on this already, so I'm going to go ahead and link it somewhere up here or at the bottom in the description on how to get your Mickey like this. So I'm going to skip that step. So what we're going to do is the first thing is we're going to attach our ears. We're going to paint our apple in white. The reason why we're going to paint it is because when we pour our sand on there, then you're going to be able to see the green underneath. And so you don't want that. So I painted this white, and this is 2 coats of white that I did on here. And I didn't paint the ears, but you can paint the ears. And then after this dries, we're going to pour white glue all over it. And then we're going to go ahead and sprinkle our white sand on here and let this dry. Once you have let your sand dry, this is what it looks like. And then what I did, so I don't have so much fallout, is I went ahead and I sprayed it with this spray adhesive, and now I don't have any fallout. If you didn't want to do this step, then you can just leave it just like this. If you leave it plain like this, I would make sure I would give it more than 2 coats so you can see, so you don't see all these little like marks on here. But for me, because I'm going to put the sand, it's fine. And I would paint the ears as well. The reason why I'm using the sand is I'm making it look like if this was like coated in sugar. I'm making these look like almost identical to the ones that they have at Disneyland, the apples that they sell there. And they're actually real apples that they make, candy apples. But they usually use like the sugar, the colored sugar, to do the designs on the face. And I figured I would just do the whole apple like if it was sugar, and then I can just put my paints on there. So I like mine with the sugar, so I'm gonna do this one the same way, but for sake of time we're gonna work on just this one here. I forgot to mention that you're also going to need some caramel apple sticks, and I got these at Dollar Tree. So what I like to do is I like to stick my caramel apple stick in there and hold it while I'm decorating my apple, but I like to glue it in there. So, oh, I forgot to turn on my glue gun. Let me turn on my glue gun. So while I wait for my glue gun to get hot, the way I draw my face is I get a pencil and I lightly draw my face on there. Now, on the first apple that I did not do that. I just freehand it. But on the second apple that I did, I drew it out and it looked better. So what we're going to do, let's see. Dollar Tree sells those sponge brushes that are round that you can use to make the eyes if you wanted to. But what I figured I would do was I would use the cap for this here, for one of these paints. And then that way I can draw my circle on there. And that way I get perfectly round eyes. But before I do that, the caramel apples that they have at Disneyland, they have a little design up here, kind of like it looks kind of like eyebrows. So that's what I want to do first. So I'm not an artist. I'm just showing you guys what I'm doing. I'm just going to go ahead and make my V up here first, like that, and then I'll bring this over around this way, and then this way. Now the thing is, you guys can see I screwed up there. The thing with the sand, it's your pencil's gonna want to bounce everywhere, so be careful with that. So as you guys can see, I just really softly erased that line. Okay, and there is our eyebrows, or whatever that is that they have up there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and hold on to the top, the lid of my little puffy paint here. And then I'm just going to draw my circle around there. Just like that. And I think that's the perfect size. There we go. And then I'll turn it upside down like this, and then I'll do my little heart nose. Just like that. And then I'll do the mouth. And I'll fix that. And that's basically how I do that. And then I come in here and I fill it in with my paints. Same thing at the top. I'm just gonna do a little heart here. And then you get your little line. Like that. And there it is. And then we come in here. And now we start coloring our face here. And all I do is I just trace the nose. I just use this paint to fill in the eyes, the nose, and then I do the mouth. And then up here, what I did to the Minnie Mouse was I used this paint here because I didn't have any paints in this color. And I just got a little brush, and then a thin little brush, and I just went ahead and I painted on the eyebrows with this paint. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how I do that. So I'm going to make her Minnie Mouse. So I'm going to go ahead and use this paint, and I'm just using a thin little brush, and I'm going to go ahead and do her eyebrows in this purple color. Now, if you don't have the puffy paints, you can also use just regular acrylic paint. But I like to use these because it's easier for me to outline these little lines here. All right, there it is. Now I'm going to use the pink. Now, friends, keep in mind that I'm trying to do it as close as I possibly can to the real caramel apples that they sell at Disneyland for Halloween. So it's not going to be exactly the same, but you guys get the picture. Just like that. I'm going to do the other side, and then we'll come back and finish the eyes. So there it is. And then we're just going to go around and create dots around our eyes. You can do this however you want. Now, I had also thought about putting little rhinestones all around. You can do that as well. Dollar Tree sells these cute little teardrop looking rhinestones that are stickers that you can put on around the eyes. I'm just going to do a bunch of little dots around the eyes, and then we're done with her. And actually, I forgot. The apple that they sell at Disneyland has some yellow dots underneath here. And so I'm just going to use the yellow paint and do some dots. And basically that is it. As far as the dots go, you guys, I'm just going to show you how I do this. Just like that. And I may add some dots in between her there. But basically that's all we're doing, friends. So I'm going to go ahead and finish her, and then we'll move on to making her sugared little bow. Okay, so there is my Minnie Mouse. And then I'm just going to let her dry. Here's this one that's already dry that I did. Here is the bow. It's like a little marshmallow bow that they put on her. And I'm going to show you how I created that bow. But you guys can see here how she looks. The bottom nobody's going to see because she sits like this. but I think she's so cute. On this one, I didn't put no yellow dots in between, but I think she still looks lovely. I might end up going in there and putting some more dots. I don't know, but look at how pretty she is. Oh my God, I love her. Okay, so I just freehanded the bow. I'm going to show you how I did that really quickly. We're going to use these foam sheets from Dollar Tree, and I'm using the red one here. And all I did was I just tried to do a flower freehand, and it's just 4 little, kind of like a butterfly, like a little clover. That's not my best, but I did that, and then I cut that out. I did 2 of them, and I glued them both together. And then once that was glued and dried, I put glue all over the flower, and I dipped it in the sand. And then I did the little circle, and I did the same thing. Okay, friends, very quickly, I want to show you. I'm going to add some of this glitter that I got at Dollar Tree into my sand right here. And I'm just going to add some in here. I'll show you real quickly how I'm going to do this. So I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle a little bit of the glitter in here. You guys can already see the glitter in there. You guys see the glitter, and then I'm just going to shake it all in there. Make sure it distributes well. Have a little bowl next to you so when you pour your sand on there, it doesn't go everywhere. And I just bought this little bowl here, this plastic Tupperware container at Dollar Tree. So I'm going to show you really quickly what I do. I just grab the white glue, and I put a little stick in here in my apple. And this is not a permanent one. It's just something temporary for now. But I'm going to go ahead, and I'm just going to go ahead and just start adding glue all over my apple. Once it's all covered evenly with glue, and as you guys can see, I did it evenly. I did not saturate my apple with glue. I'm going to go ahead now and just sprinkle my sand right on there. Ooh, I love the way it looks with the glitter. All right, and there's your apple. Now, I would wait for this to dry completely, and if you have any spots that doesn't have any sand, then just add a little glue to that spot and then add some more of your sand. Once this dries 100%, then get your spray adhesive glue and spray it on there, and you will not have any fallout. But that's how easy that looks. I wish I would have remembered to do the glitter for the other ones, because look at how pretty it looks with the glitter. Oh my goodness. I wish I would have done that. I just forgot all about it. But there it is. So now I let that dry, and then I'll do my Mickey. You guys don't need to see me do that because it's basically the same thing as doing the Minnie Mouse. And once this dries, once that one dries, we'll add her bow to her, and we'll be done with her, and we'll move on to the next apple. So here she is, all dry. Look at how cute she looks. Oh my goodness. Correction, friends. This I said I bought at Dollar Tree. I did not. I bought this at Walmart. And I mean, I think it just gives it a really nice effect in this sand. Now the sand by itself, it does, glisten a little. But with this glitter in there, it gives it that nice touch of sparkle in there. Okay, so now with the bow, like I showed you guys, I just freehand the bow. The flower for her side here. If you look at the candy apples that they sell at Disneyland, she has like a little marshmallow flower on the side like this that has sugar on it. So, I mean, I just freehanded this. You can make a regular flower, just like a nice little flower. I just did something like this. I can't draw, as you guys can see. But you can also get a cookie cutter if you have a cookie cutter that's shaped like a flower, and then just trace around that and then cut your flower like that. But now I'm going to show you guys really quickly. I did this one here. As you guys can see, there's I put 2 of these foams together because the foam is pretty thin. But I put 2 together here. I glued them together, and then I glued 2 of the round foams together as well, just because I wanted it to be sturdy. But you can also do this is just a single one here and a single one there, single foamy or foam. And you can do that too. It'll still stand on there like that. But I just wanted it to look a little thicker. But I'm just going to show you guys with this one. I'm just going to do a single layer of foam on this one. And then I'm just going to add my glue to this. And then I'm just going to paint it on the glue. And then I'm going to dip it into my sand with glitter here. And you don't need to saturate this. You just want a nice thin layer of glue. Just regular white glue. You can get them at Dollar Tree, but I think right now, like Walmart, they're trying to sell out all their school supplies. So I think you can get a bottle for like 25 cents or 50 cents. So it'd be cheaper to get it if you can find them still out there after the school sales, you know, that they're trying to blow out now. So, okay, so there's a thin layer, and then I'm just going to go ahead and dip it in my sand. You don't need to do the backside unless you really want to. On the other one, on the first one I did do the backside, but see, look, just like that. Look at how pretty that looks. And I'm going to leave it there to dry. And then it'll look, I already did this one, like this. See, I didn't do the back on this one. And then I'm just going to go ahead and glue it right on there like that. And then she will be done. I also did the Mickey, as you guys can see. And they're not going to be perfect, and they're not always going to come out the same. I do have shaky hands, and so, you know, they're not always going to come out the same. But I still think they look cute. Oh my goodness. I don't like the way this came out right here, the top. But you know what? It's okay. It still looks so cute. And then with her next to him, oh my goodness, how adorable are they? Okay, friends, let me clean up this mess here, and we're going to move on to our next apple. For the next and final apple, we are going to be doing a Maleficent apple. Now this one is a little different than the one that we're going to do. I'm going to tell you really quickly, my husband did the horns on this apple, and he actually, when he did the horns, he put them on top of the apple, and they stayed on there, so I couldn't remove the horns. So I kind of was experimenting with this apple, and I think it looks really cute. I originally had put some glittered lips on here, the red glittered lips, and I thought that would be perfect to show that it was Maleficent. But nobody liked the red lips, so I went ahead and I took the red lips off, and I just did all green on here. But our apple is going to look a little different, the one that we're going to do next. So this is just one of the apples that I made. So for the Maleficent apple, you're going to need a green apple. You're going to need some white glue, some black paint of your choice, and you're going to need some purple glitter. I got this purple glitter at Dollar Tree. And you're going to need a foam brush. I bought these little caramel apple sticks at Walmart. Look at how cute they are. They're like little bones, like fingers or something like that. I think it looks so cute. So I'm going to be using this for my Maleficent apple. But you can also get just a regular candy apple stick. We're going to need some scissors. If you wanted to add some of this rhinestone like I did to this apple here, I added it onto the caramel apple stick, and you can do that if you wanted to. And then we're going to need some modeling clay here. Now I got this at Walmart, and this was $4.97 for this big tub here. Also, if you don't want to use the clay, you can use some of this right here. Now I got this pack of styrofoam here. As you guys can see, I've already used it. It comes with 3 sheets. This said it was on clearance, but I picked it up for 75 cents at the thrift store a while back, a couple years ago actually. And I do have some tutorials on when I use this, when I made my, I think it was my Halloween lollipops that I made out of this, the styrofoam. And I believe I also made some candy corn with these guys here. You're also going to need a template. So I went on to Google and I just Googled Maleficent horns, and I hit images, I believe, or printables. And this is what came up. A bunch of different ones came up, but I chose this one. I printed this up and then I cut it. And then what I did, I'm going to show you guys really quickly what I did in case you don't want to use this. I went ahead and I put it on my styrofoam. I just grabbed a pencil and I traced it all the way until I came down to here. And then I came down just a little further up to here. And then I went ahead and I cut this out. And it came out like this, as you guys can see. And then what I did, so I don't get that styrofoam look, it looks more smoother, I grabbed some of this clay and I just went over it with the clay. I don't know if you guys can see right there. You could see that the clay is on there all the way around. I did it all the way around. I even added a little peak at the end like this, so it looks nice and smooth and you don't get that texture of the styrofoam. So I did that. That's, I think, the best way to do your horns. But if you want, you can do, and I'm not showing you how I do the horns because they're going to be different every time you make them. But see, I did these horns out of the clay and all I did was mold them. And as you can see, they're not the same. They're a little different, but you know, you can do them like that if you would like as well. Again, I'm not going to show you how I did the horns because this took me quite a bit of time to do. And it was a lot more difficult to mold my own horns because I'm not a artist. So I was trying my best to try to make them match, but as you guys can see, they don't. So for me, I found the easiest way to do it is with the styrofoam like this. Okay, so once you get them like this, once I got them like that, I painted them, as you guys can see. And then I added a little groove here, as you guys can see right there. This one, I don't know why I painted the bottom. But right here, as you can see, I just cut a little groove so they fit on the apple, just like that. Now, you don't need to paint them right now. You can paint them once they're on the apple. But I went ahead and I painted them because I wanted to see if it was going to look good. And I think it does. So the paint that I used for this was, I first used a solid black paint on them like this. Just solid black paint. And then once that dried, I came back with a metallic paint. And this is the Folk Art Sequin Black paint. And you can see it gives it that shine. So that's what we're going to be using. We're also going to be using a glue gun, friends. I forgot to mention that. So you're going to glue these guys onto the apple like this. And then we're going to go ahead and paint our apple. But we're not going to paint the front of the apple. We're going to leave... This is the best looking part, I think, of the apple. Make sure you look for the best part of the apple. You can also turn it upside down like this if you wanted to and use that part like this. I think it looks good like that, but I think I'm just going to do it the regular way like that. So once you have your horns cut out, you can also use the foam board if you wanted to, like the thicker foam board that's black. You don't have to paint them. As long as they're sturdy, you can even use cardboard. As long as they're sturdy, you're going to be fine. They have to be sturdy, or if not, they're going to flop over and you don't want that. But you have to make sure that they're even as you possibly can, because it is a homemade DIY. They're not going to be perfect and they may not be identical. Yeah, so we're just going to go ahead and glue our horns onto our apple before we paint it. If you paint it first and then put your horns on there, it's going to come off because the paint won't adhere to this. Once you put your styrofoam on there, it's going to slide off with the paint. So just go ahead and don't paint your apple. So we're going to use low temp glue. I'm just going to go ahead and I know where I want them. I want them a little higher up like this. As a matter of fact, yeah, I'm going to leave the stem in for now because I do want to paint it and I want to hold it like this. But I think, oops, makes it a little difficult to see in the angle that I'm in. Okay, so I think I'm going to go right there close to the edge of the apple. And I'm just going to go ahead and put some hot glue on here. Again, low temp. I don't want to burn my fingers. And I don't want to melt the styrofoam either. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go right up there. And I always try to take off as much as I can the excess that's coming out. Just be careful not to burn your fingers. And then there's one horn, and then I'm gonna glue the other side. See, there are the horns right there. Oh my God, I'm loving, loving, loving. Again, it's not going to be perfect, just so you know, friends. I don't want to have any hate comments on here. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my pencil to see if I can sketch out her face. I'm gonna keep it this green, but if you want to paint it green, the green that I used for this apple here is the Apple Barrel Holly Branch. And I believe this is 3 coats of that paint on there. And so you can do that if you want. But I think I'm gonna see how it looks. I might leave it just with this green on here. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to make her little peak and then kind of like a little heart coming down with her face. And we know that everything else will get painted black. You can also, if you want to keep this like the ones that they sell at the apples that they sell at Disneyland, then you can use like a melted chocolate from I think it's Apple Barrel that does the color melted chocolate. You can make it all in that color. You can make it as if it was a Maleficent caramel apple or candy apple, and you paint it all in that melted chocolate by Apple Barrel. But I wanted to do it like this in this black. So you're just gonna go ahead and try to figure out where you want your lines to be, and it's a little hard for me to do it in this angle, so I'm just gonna go ahead and sketch out my little, pretty much like a little heart coming down to make her face, and then everything else is gonna get painted black. So let me do that off camera because this is really hard for me to do in this angle. All right, friends, take a look at that. See, let me paint this off camera black, and then we'll be back. Now you're gonna paint the whole apple black except for the front right here. So this is still drying. So what I did is I ended up putting it on a stick here, one of these caramel apple sticks, instead of using the stem to paint it, because it was a little harder for me to hold on to it while I had the little stick of the the stem of the apple. So I ended up putting one of these caramel apple sticks on there. It's not on there permanent. I just stuck it in there to hold it while I paint it. And after, this is still a little tacky, but what I did is I went ahead and I went around with this puffy paint around the shape of the face to give it a finished look. I do recommend that you paint it first with a solid black color, and then after that, once that dries, go over it with your metallic paint. Now that our apple is dry, as you guys can see, I already glued my skeleton caramel apple stick in here, and oh my God, how cute is this guy? So now we're gonna do her lines that they do in her candy apple at the park, Disneyland Park. And it's just little stripes that go, like 2 stripes that go on her horns, and then one across her head, and then one coming down like this. And mine is still wet. This one is still wet, so we're gonna do this one. So what we are going to do is we're just going to grab some regular white glue. Be careful not to add too much glue because then it'll be a drippy mess. So you're just going to do like a little line. You can just go on the outside here. You don't have to go all the way around to the back. I only did like the inside here, but I didn't do the back, as you guys can see. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to grab our glue, and we're going to try, because this is not as easy, to do a little line of glue. Not too much. You don't want it to be drippy. You can also use paint if you want, like purple paint, like the puffy paint, to do the, instead of the glue, you can do that and get maybe a purple puffy paint to do that on here, and then you can sprinkle the glitter on top of that if you'd like to do that. But all I have is just the glue. I don't have any purple paint, so we're going to use the glue. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and try to get it as even as you possibly can. Just remember, it is a homemade DIY, so it's not going to be perfect. And so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in here and just do a tiny little line. Okay, right there. There's one, as you guys can see, right there. And then let me see, let me try to do the other one. I'm trying to do it the same, like at the same Actually, that one's a little higher. Can you guys see that right there? So I'm not gonna worry about that one right now. Let's do these right here. So then I just sprinkle my glitter. And don't worry about it getting around the horn. You just get a dry brush after, and then you can just brush off the extra glitter. And this is like her sugared little lines on her horns. And then I just get a little fine brush and I just clean it off. Take off as much of the and with this little brush you can push your line straight too if you want. Okay, you let that dry and then you can come back with a dry brush. But then we're gonna go across here and then we're just gonna do a little line across right here on top of her head, just a little line across there, and then just a little one coming down, not all the way down. Let this dry and then come back and clean it up with a dry brush. Now I'm gonna let these dry. I'm gonna tie a bow on here and then I'll be back to show you what they look like when they're completed. Friends, here are my apples. And so let's go over a few things with these apples. So for this one, the Maleficent, I just added this glittery bow and then I put this little skull here from the Dollar Tree. They sell these little bows and I just pulled the little skull off of there and I glued it on here. Now I don't know if I'm digging this bow on here, but for now it's going to stay there. If you didn't want a bow, this is what she would look like without it. And then this is the bow that was on this one here. So as you can see how the three of them look, I like it like this with the lighter face. This is too dark if you ask me. This looks more like, I don't know, maybe an Avenger, like, I don't know. It just looks, I don't know. I don't really care for the way the color of the face came out on this one. So I might end up going and buying like a light green color and painting the face like something similar to this. So yeah, that green is too dark for me. But I used the rhinestones on this one and I just took the bow off of that one. And then you can also put it on your apple if you wanted to, like this. So that's an option. And I think they're so adorable. So if you can't make the horns, then I have seen that the candy apples that they make at Disneyland are shaped more like a crescent. So you can just do like a little crescent and do that instead of these horns. I did not use the ones that I made with clay. Those are a little harder to make. These are a lot easier. Just get your styrofoam, get a template, and I'll try to link the template down below, the one that I used. It's free to use. And so I used that and traced it over my styrofoam, and then I covered my styrofoam with some of that soft clay from Walmart. And then I let it dry, and then look, it looks just like, you can't tell that they're styrofoam. And they're light, which is perfect. So I love my Maleficents. Now on my Mickeys here, I think these are so adorable. I just absolutely love them. I went back to this one and I just added a little spray adhesive and then I added some of the glitter on there like that. So I went to Dollar Tree really quickly and I found the little brushes that I was talking to you guys about. So you can use these brushes, like this small one, dip it in your black paint and then just dab your eyes on there like that so you can get the perfect circles. Now I also made another apple before and I have a tutorial on how I did this apple. I didn't add the glitter to it, but I will link it somewhere around here or in the description box below. And I had made a centerpiece, and so I'm gonna go ahead and link that below. And I made that apple in that tutorial, but I didn't add the glitter, or it didn't have this stick on there. So I think this is so cute too, and I already made one for my daughter and I gave it to her. And so these are my apples, friends. I hope you guys like these apples that I'm making, and I hope you guys give them a try. Now, friends, I will tell you that if you're making this to sell, you have to be very careful because Disney will come after you. You cannot sell Disney stuff without the mouse wanting to come and get his cut. So be very careful if you're gonna sell, you make these to sell, because you don't want to get in trouble. Just saying, the mouse will come after you. So I'm just making these for fun, just for me and my daughter to display in our home for Halloween. And anyways, this is my tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys have fun creating some of these of your own. And I want to thank you for watching, friends, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, friends.